What's up, y'all? This is Jamal Riley with Comedy Through Comedy Magazine, and I'm here with one of the hottest comedians in New Orleans, Mr. Shaddy FeelGood. What's good, Shaddy?
Hey man, what's up?
Chillin'. We got the exclusive interview. First time I want to ask you, Shaddy, how did you get into doing comedy?
It's a funny story because it's the way I got into comedy. Like I never grew up wanting to be a comedian or anything. I actually was in a barbershop one day. The guy, who he's a local comedian, invited me to a comedy show, and when I told him I'd come, so I ain't had nothing to do that day. I ended up going. So I'm sitting there the whole time. I'm like, man, I'm funny to this dude. Like he wasn't even funny. So after the show, he came. He was like, "Hey man, what you thought about the show?" I'm like, it was alright. He was like, what you mean it was alright? I'm like, it's just alright. He was like, you think you could do better? I was like, yeah. So I was like, he was like, well, tell you what, I'm gonna put you on the next show and we're gonna see if you can do better.
There you go, calling you out.
Yeah, so I got on the next show. He gave me like 5 minutes, and I did a high five. Everybody was laughing. It was like it just took off from there. That's pretty much how I started. I mean, I always was a clown in school and everything, but like first time stepping on stage, that was it.
That was it, yeah, man. And you just recently won Shad Comedy All-Star.
Right.
Competition, and your name is really booming. You're one of the hottest comedians down here. You got a local comedy show on Thursday nights, at packed house every night.
Right.
As far as the comedy game, where are you trying to take it? Where are you trying to go with this comedy? You trying to stick to acting, comedy, skit?
Well, I mean, like my heart is just a straight comedian.
Okay.
I mean, I wouldn't mind doing acting and different things like that, but my heart is just straight comedy. I mean, it's like that's just what my heart is.
Yeah, and I understand that. I mean, me being a local comedian as well, dude, you doing it out here, bro. I mean, I ain't even gonna lie to you. It's hard, really. You push a lot of people, bro. When you get on stage, people got to be worried.
Right.
Whether you're going before or after headline, people got to be worried. For me, watching you, just taking a lot of stuff from you as far as like your delivery and stuff like that. I want to talk about a couple of your jokes that I really personally like, man. I be telling you all the time, I love that bus stop joke you did, and that came from nowhere. And I love the watching the porno flick in a 3D TV. I mean, them jokes is like, where does that come from? Where does that type of comedy come from as far as
Well, actually, the bus stop joke, I made that up at I was doing a dance recital. I was the host.
Okay.
And the people out there doing the bus stop, and it hit me. It hit me like I was going on stage. And I did the joke for the first time. Like right after I saw it and came up with it in my head, I just got up there and I said the joke, and everybody, it was hilarious. Everybody was like, bruh, you gotta use that.
Yeah.
And so that's where it came from. Like a lot of the jokes that I come up with, it come from real life situations, most of them. And actually the porn joke, I had most of it already set up.
Okay.
But I was at work one day talking to one of my coworkers, and when you out and you do comedy, people always like, man, I got a joke for you. I'm telling you, I got a joke.
yeah. Everybody do that.
But most of the time, the joke be terrible. But this one time, well, I ain't gonna say one time because they done had other jokes that were pretty good. But this particular joke, like I guess the timing was like kind of destiny on it. Mm-hmm. And he told me that that one part of the joke that was about the buffering.
Okay. Yeah.
That was like, I was like, that's it. Because the joke was a good joke, but like, the deeper you get into comedy, like probably some of the jokes that you tell today gonna be some of the same jokes you tell tomorrow.
Yeah.
But they're gonna build. It's like Legos. Like you got this, and then the more you tell jokes, you might do something while you telling a joke, and the people react to the side stuff more than they did to the original joke. He's like, man, next time I do it, I'm gonna just add that.
Exactly, man. I know how it is, bro.
So I mean, that's how those two jokes came about. I mean, but like you know, I'm a realist. I'm a real life comedian. I talk about stuff that go on with me, stuff that I see. So I mean, that's how most of my jokes come about.
That's good. That's good. With that being said, you know, and you being a vet in the game, I know you've been doing comedy longer than me, and I've been doing it since 2009. But the thing I think, what would you give young comedians these days to kind of get them through? Because comedy is hard. You know, you can have a good night one night, you can have a bad night the next night.
Right.
What kind of, if it's maybe advice or, you know, ideas, what would you give somebody that was just not starting out in comedy and hitting these open mics and stuff like that?
For me, it's kind of hard for me to tell somebody, just from my point of view, how to, because comedy is essentially you, whoever you are. Yeah. Like, there is no one particular way to be funny. There's dry funny, there's exciting funny. So I guess my advice to an up-and-coming comedian is to do it until the person that you are in front of your friends and your family becomes the person that you are on stage. And you know, when just because I may see something that you do on stage and I may tell you about it, but I feel like everything that somebody tells you in comedy, you don't always particularly take it, because sometimes you may be taking you out of the joke. It just may be a way of tweaking it, but like don't always take what people say so critical that, you know, that's like, man, you know, he told me don't do it, so I ain't gonna do it no more. Yeah. Sometimes it's not that you can't do it. Sometimes it needs to be cleaned up. Sometimes the approach of it needs to be different. So I mean, my advice to a young comic would be, they're gonna have some good days. They're gonna have some bad days. I remember bombing out. You know what I'm saying?
And tell us something about some of your experiences with comedy. Like, what built you, and what made you stronger with comedy?
I remember actually after I did my first show at the Autocrat, they booked me again the next month. I did it again. I killed. I did a spot at La Rue. I killed. So the buzz was getting out like, man, Shaddy funny. So I had a show at Club Envy. My brother put it together because my family was supporting me. It was me, Blowfish, Blue Jude, and they had a singing act. So you know, at that point, you know, I was new in the game, but I felt like, man, I had my ass on my shoulder. I'm like, man, can't nobody touch me. I'm a dog. Can't nobody see me.
I feel you, dude.
And, you know, I had never really performed with Jude and Blowfish. And like my old style of comedy used to be kind of laid back, tell my jokes, whatever. But doing jokes with Jude and Blowfish, like I told my brother, that was my first headline gig. I'm like, man, I'm going last. They can't touch me. I'm last. And man, I bombed out. I was terrible. Like, but Blowfish and Jude tore it up.
Yeah.
So I was like, man, like, you know what I'm missing. And I, like, as I'm leaving out of the club, I hear people telling Jude and Blowfish, like, man, I thought y'all told me dude was funny. Like, man, and Jude, I remember like yesterday, Jude telling the dude, like, man, he is funny, bro. It's just one of them nights. Dude, and you know, New Orleans hard.
New Orleans is hard.
So dude was like, man, you know, man, dude ain't funny, man. Y'all got this. Y'all run New Orleans, whatever. Yeah. So like after that, like I started picking my energy up. Like now I perform with a different energy. Like and like that's important on stage, but it's important for me, for my type of comedy. But you know, like I said, they got comics that do drag, you know, just dry punchline humor. They got some people who just a lot of energy. They got people who a lot of action. So, like that was one of my most terrifying times. And I guess um, after that, I guess the next most terrifying act that I had to do was the first time I performed in church.
Yeah. Now, church, I know we talked about that off cam,
Yeah.
but how is that? Because it's hard for people to go from doing a role in the club, holding the wall, cussing, punchline cuss punchline, to doing church where you really can't cuss, and it's really got to be more about the joke.
Right. Like to this day, I feel like the church made me the person, the comic that I am.
Okay.
Reason being is because before I started doing comedy in the church, I used to curse.
Yeah.
I used to curse a lot.
Mhm.
And if you look at some of my older comedy, like I curse, it's a lot of vulgarity,
Yeah.
less joke. And once I started doing comedy in the church,
Uh huh.
it kind of showed me that I was funny. I was funny without cursing.
Yeah.
Like because in church you can't curse at all.
Mhm.
So now I'm finding out that uh, I was funny without cursing. I was funny
Yeah.
just with whatever I was talking about.
Mhm.
And so that made me be more clever.
Yeah.
It made me more witty.
Okay.
It made me say things because some of the jokes that I tell in the club are the same jokes I tell in the church.
Uh-huh.
It's just tweaking the content, tweaking the approach of the joke.
Okay.
Because really and truthfully, you can talk about anything in the church.
Uh-huh.
You can talk about using drugs. You can talk about sex. You can talk about relationship stuff. But it's all in your approach. It's like they got for everything that's going on in life, they got a scripture in the Bible that talk about men cheating.
Yeah.
They got people doing things they have no business.
Mhm.
They got people doing adultery.
Okay.
Everything in the Bible. So it's all about bringing all of those things together and making it mesh well uh, uh, to where somebody who's in the church real heavy can come to the joke and really receive it well.
Okay.
So, but like I said, when I first started doing the church, my pastor found out I did comedy. He come to me. He asked, "Man, I heard you do comedy. You could do it in the church."
Uh-huh.
And I was like, but you can't tell your pastor no.
No, yeah.
So I was like, yeah. And so I left out of there after I told him, like, what I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm gonna say.
Mhm.
And so I had a friend of mine who go to church with me. His name Israel. We know him in the street as Israel. We with the 0017 thing.
Okay.
So we sitting down talking. And he like, man, you could just talk about this. You could do that. And so I went to church the next Sunday. I watched the bishop. I watched what he did.
Mm-hmm.
And I took something that he did that Sunday, and I used it in the joke.
Okay.
And when I did that, it kind of made everything go good.
Mm-hmm.
I only had 5 minutes, and then
That's not
5
bad.
minutes turned into 10. He was like, man, you think you could do more? And then so he started letting me host stuff.
Okay.
And then so it just kind of like blossomed from there. So
That's what's up.
pretty much what I owe. Well, that's what I think I owe my. That's my biggest leap in the game, the comedy game, was doing Christian comedy.
That's what's up. Now, before we get out here, I know when I be looking at your Instagram, which is Shaddy FeelGood, correct?
Yeah.
On Instagram, you be always saying that, talking about the feel-good experience. Kind of explain to everybody what the feel-good experience is.
The feel-good experience is, my style is punchline after punchline.
Mm-hmm.
It's quick, precise.
Okay.
It's a bunch of big movements. I got my my tagline. Shaddy, I'm Shaddy FeelGood. You ain't never feel good till you Shaddy feel good.
Shaddy FeelGood.
I got my tagline phrase is "That's too stupid."
Yeah. I saw that one too. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So I mean, like I say, it's a bunch of all that mixed in one. You know, a lot of people don't know. I went to school for engineering, so
Okay.
you know, it's what are we gonna call it? Sophisticated hoodedness.
Here you go, sophisticated hoodedness.
Yeah.
You heard it here first. You heard it here. Exclusive interview with Mr. Shaddy FeelGood, one of the hottest comedians coming up out of New Orleans. Somebody I look up to in the comedy game. He changing the comedy game in New Orleans and putting New Orleans on the map as far as comedy. This is Jamar Riley with Comedy Through Comic Magazine.
Shaddy feel good. You ain't never feel good till you shaddy feel good, baby.
There we go.